everyone, welcome to my channel Sana Wellness. Today we'll continue with the series Developing Self-Regulation Skills, and we'll be exploring strategies to help children calm down when they're having an intense emotion, such as anger or frustration. Now, more specifically, I'll be talking about an empathetic model where parents, caregivers, and professionals interacting with the child validate the child's feelings first before using a discipline method or before redirecting their behavior. In this model, I integrated knowledge from the following books: No Drama Discipline by Daniel Siegel and Tina Payne Bryson, Raising an Emotionally Intelligent Child by John Gottman, and he talks about emotional coaching in this book. The book Emotional Agility by Susan David. And of course, I want to share pieces of my learning as a mother. Now, the first thing that I want to note is that when a person is having an intense emotion, they are in an emotional reactivity state, and they might not be able to hear what you're saying at all. So the first step in this empathetic model is to be able to create an emotional connection with the child so that they can hear what you're saying later. In the process of creating that emotional connection, these are the steps that I recommend you follow. The first one is to be able to create physical contact with your child. You lower yourself even below your child's eyes so that they don't see you as a threat. You maybe hold their hands or hug them or rub their backs, and you're sending a message of comfort. Then you move into the second step where you identify and name the child's feelings. You might say something like, I see you seem frustrated, or you seem angry, or you seem upset. The idea with this step is to be able to give the child vocabulary so that they can express their feelings later on, and to communicate that you're understanding their experience. You're also inviting their thinking and logical brain to come into the picture so that their emotional brain can calm down. For more information about how to help children name their feelings, I invite you to check out the video in my channel called Helping Children Name Their Feelings. After you identify and name the child's feeling, the idea is to be able to send an empathetic message and validate the child's feelings. So you can say something like, I'm sorry you feel that way, or that must have hurt your feelings, or you have all the right to feel that way. And then after you do that, the idea is to wait and give the child the opportunity to express their feeling. Sometimes as adults, we have an emotional reaction to the child's feeling. We want to change their feeling, and we don't want them to feel hurt. We don't want them to feel angry. So we make several mistakes. One, we might minimize or deny the child's feelings by saying something like, oh, it's okay, don't worry about it, it's gonna be okay. Or you might send the message that we only accept them when they're calm or happy. So we might send them to their room and tell them that they can only come out when they're calm. Or we might simply say that they shouldn't feel that way. Another mistake that we do is distract them from their feelings. So we might invite them to do a different activity so that they don't have to feel that way. But one of the most important learnings that I want you to take out from this video is the idea that children need to learn to sit with their feelings and to tolerate distress. This is one of the most important abilities that you should learn as a person. The idea is to send the message that all feelings are okay and that feelings are temporary. They don't stay big the whole time. They can change. And by giving yourself the opportunity to feel that feeling, then the feeling can give you important information about what to do. I recommend checking out the book What I'm Feeling Is Okay, written by Laura Schiff. This is a beautiful story about a boy who feels all the feelings, and it also includes the idea that feelings come and go. So it would really help you in discussing these ideas about feelings further. Now, I want to provide you with an example so that you can have a better idea about how to use this connection with your child step. Suppose your child is drawing something and they're having a really hard time and the drawing is not turning out how they wanted it to be. So they become frustrated, they tear the drawing and they start throwing all the crayons everywhere. So you might be tempted to go in and discipline and stop the behavior and focus on the crayons and the drawing. But with this model, the idea is to be able to create that emotional connection first. So you go down to the child's level, then you hug them or rub their back, and then you say something like, I see you feel frustrated because the drawing is not turning out how you wanted it to be. I'm sorry you're feeling that way. Sometimes I feel frustrated when things don't turn out how I wanted them. And then the idea is that you wait. You give the child the opportunity to express their feelings. They might tell you other things about how they are feeling. And then you ask yourself the question, is my child ready to listen to what I have to say? Is my child ready to process logically what just happened? If the answer is yes, then you move to the second step of redirecting the behavior. If the answer is no, then I recommend you stay more in that connection step. It might be that you just sit with them in silence until they're ready. Now, sometimes we don't have all the time to be able to go to the second step of redirecting and discussing with the child what happened, and that's okay. The idea is that you at least help them transition from reactivity to receptivity so that you can move on with your day. And then later on, you can discuss what happened logically. Now, for the step 2 of redirecting the behavior, I'm going to talk about certain strategies that have been helpful to me. But I invite you to check out the book No Drama Discipline, where they go in depth into a lot of strategies in this step. The first strategy is to be able to ask questions that invite the child to find solutions. So it might be something like, what do you think that could be a solution to this problem? Or in the example that I just shared, it could be something like, what's something that can help you finish your drawing? For younger children, you can use a visual aid to help them learn about different ways to solve problems. I created a video called Helping Children Become Problem Solvers. I invite you to watch this video if you want to know more about this subject. Another strategy that I found really helpful is the idea to help the child externalize their feeling. So you ask the question of what their feeling might need. So you can say something like, what do you think your anger needs right now? What do you think your sadness needs? And this creates a space between the child and the feeling so that they can feel more in control about that emotion. I recommend you check out the children's book, When Sadness is at Your Door by Eva Ellen. This is a beautiful story about a boy who does all kinds of activities with his sadness until it goes away. So it gives you an opportunity to discuss the idea of interacting with your feeling. Another strategy is to be able to help the child think about alternative behaviors. So in this strategy, you really focus on communicating to the child what part of his behavior is not acceptable. So if the child has hit a sibling, then you connect with the child first. You say, I see you got angry because your brother took your toy away. I'm sorry you're feeling that way. I would feel angry too if someone took something from me. But hitting hurts. So how about we find a way to express your anger in a way that doesn't hurt your brother? So in that sense, you're inviting the child to think about an alternative behavior that is more acceptable. And if the child can't come up with ideas, then you can guide them and provide ideas yourself. Now, the following 2 strategies are things that I have incorporated into my parenting, and they are based on information in the book, Emotional Agility. In this book, Susan David talks about how feelings can give you important information about your values, about what's important to you. So with this strategy, you communicate the child, or you invite them to think about what their feeling might be telling them about what's important to them. So in the example of the drawing, you can say something like, what do you think your frustration is telling you about what's important to you? Or you can also offer the information and say something like, I see your frustration might be telling us that it's important to you to do things well and to achieve the things that you set out to do. And then you can also use your values to create a conversation about what's important to you and to redirect their behavior. So you can say something like, what you're feeling is telling us is really important. And I want to share with you that it is important to me that we take care of our things. So how can we honor your feeling and also what's important to me? How can we help you finish your drawing and achieve what you set out to do while also taking care of our things? How can we honor both? This idea of incorporating values into your parenting is something that I'm going to talk about more in depth in my future videos. But I wanted to open a conversation about these because I found it very helpful and it really resonates with my parenting philosophy. The last thing that I want to share with you are some benefits of using this empathetic model. In the short term, we already talked about that it helps the child move from a reactivity state to a receptivity state so that they can hear what you're saying and teaching them. In the long term, you're promoting the development of the child's brain. Siegel and Payne Bryson talk about how when you're using the connection model, you are promoting the development of connective fibers between the lower and upper brain so that the child can develop self-control. Gottman also shares how using an empathetic model can help the child go in and out of stress more easily with more skills. And when you're using empathy with your child, they're also learning being empathetic with others so they can develop and maintain friendships. The last benefit, and perhaps the most important one, is that you're building trust with your child. You're strengthening that relationship with them because you're sending the message that you accept them with all their feelings and that the most important thing to you is them beyond the behaviors and the feelings that they are experiencing. Now, there are some parents that worry about how this model might spoil their children or how this model might send the message that if they have an intense emotion, they can get what they want. But this model is not about that. This model accepts all the feelings that the child is having, but it doesn't accept all the behaviors. So in the first step where you're creating the emotional connection, you're communicating that all the feelings that they're experiencing are okay. But on the second step, you're communicating that not all behaviors are acceptable. So I hope these strategies can help you in the process of calming down the children that are part of your life. I invite you to make comments, tell me what you like about this model, the questions that you may have, and I invite you to tell me if there is something that you want me to go more in depth in my future videos. Thank you for coming to my channel, Sana Wellness. I invite you to follow me on social media, like this video, like my channel, and subscribe. Also, make comments about topics that you would like me to cover in my future videos. See you soon for more videos. Bye!